Hey survivors, thanks for being here. I appreciate everything that you're doing for the channel. Subscribing, liking, everything that's going on with that. And what we want to go over here is the best poly pads that I have found over 20 years of just sleeping on them. Anywhere from foam all the way up to the most comfortable plush pad that you can buy on the market. Let's go over them coming up. Well, welcome to my office. Like all of us, we started on foam pads, or when we were kids, we just slept right on the ground, right? When we were out camping or whatever, just sleep on the ground or we put a blanket down. The whole point behind having a pad is insulating you from conduction, the heat transfer from yourself to another object. So in this case, to the ground. Most of the time, it's a lot colder. And when you're sleeping out in the wintertime, just straight on snow, that does something for you as well. So even before these, if you're in surviving and you're out in a survival situation, you just find vegetation and make some type of insulation bed. Whether that be from green boughs, other duff, dirt, sticks and stuff you find on the ground, doesn't matter. Whatever creates dead air space that can insulate you. 4 fingers compressed. So that means it's going to be thicker, right around 12 inches by the time it's compressed down to 4 fingers. So you could even do that in conjunction with the pad to make something more comfortable. A lot of times I would do that with a bough bed, a pine branch bough bed. I would lay that down first, and then to make it more comfortable, I would put on one of these foam pads. Now this is going to be good enough. Now it's not my first choice. It never was. But it keeps you definitely protected from the ground. This one is just a thermarest. They're the most inexpensive ones that are out there. And they're real light too. Durable, they're not gonna pop on you. But they're the most uncomfortable as well. I'm a side sleeper, so that's what I'm gonna be talking about a bunch throughout here is, do I like to sleep on my side on these pads? Is it thick enough for that? Because your shoulders start to hurt, your hips start to hurt. This will protect you. This is an older style thermarest, and what you see at thrift stores a lot of times. Sometimes they'll have holes in them. I've patched this one up. There's still a little hole somewhere I need to find. But this was one of the first inflatable pads they came out with. Made by Cascade Designs out of Seattle. And real comfortable. I used to use this in conjunction with a cot for a few years when I first was in the military. Moving on down the pipe, as we have this Neo Air X Light. That's right around 15 ounces. And it's made for 4 season. So it's real crinkly and noisy. Some people don't like that, sleeping on them. And it's not very wide. It's slippery. If you move around a lot, it's easy to fall off this thing and just slide off it in the middle of the night. But if you're trying to go ultralight and have a 4 season pad to put this right on the snow, it's going to be good. Now with all these pads, there's an R value to them. And so depending on the R value, the higher the R value, just like in a house, the better the insulation. So for winter camping, an R value of somewhere around 5 is going to be good. But if you have the space or you don't mind carrying 2 different pads, you can get a real cheap pad for the winter and put this down on the ground and then put your foam right on top of it. So putting your foam right on top, that's going to keep you warmer. So I'd rather do it this way than put my pad on top, because then I'm heating up all the air inside the poly pad, but it's still not conducting. I find it to be a little bit warmer putting this on top if I have a cheap pad. But if you have your R value of somewhere around 5 and up, that's going to be warm enough for the wintertime camping. This one is the REI flash, and it has these different bubbles or cells in there. They're all connected, but this one is a lot more comfortable for side sleepers than just a straight pad right here, just a straight air mattress. So this one distributes the pressure points better, and this is one of my favorites. This one is only about £1 as well, that's why they call it the flash. I'd rather have this one over this $200 pad. This one's only about $100 from when I got it. A lot of these pads over the years I got from garage sales. I got from people that didn't want them anymore because they were popped. And that could be a good way to find them. This one's in Neo Air by Thermarest. Bigger, has the same insulation qualities, and on top it has an inflating valve right here, inflating and deflating. And this is where it's been leaking for me. And so I patched a spot on the bottom here, but it's been leaking still through here, through this spot. So this is a quick way to inflate or deflate the pad. But all you do is you hold it open just like this, and it acts like a Venturi effect, so it channels the air into it. But it is a downside, because even though you roll it up tight, it can still leak out the sides, which has been the problem. This is a current one that I'm using. I love it. It is the Big Agnes Q-Core Insulated SLX, so it's big, right around 4 inches thick. It has increased side baffles, so it keeps it from rolling off the side as much as other ones. And it's really not that heavy as well, so it has an in and out valve like most of them. And the interesting part is that it comes with this inflatable sack. And a lot of them come with these new types of inflatable systems. So all you do is just open it up like this, it catches some air, and then you can fill it up this way. Another way to do it is you can open it up and act like the same thing, the Venturi effect there. Just a little puff, and it fills it right up because it brings in the surrounding air. And then with all the valves, you can fine tune them when you get on top of your poly pad. So you lay on your pad. It's always a good idea to have a ground pad, and you can press this valve. All right, shh. Listen, can you hear? You can fine tune it, so you don't need to blow your pad up all the way and then sleep on a rock hard air mattress. So fine tune it with either unscrewing the valve if you have one of those, or just like this. And then if you need to blow it up while you're on it, you can do that a little bit, or you just get off and blow it up. This one is the Sea to Summit Comfort Plus. This is one of the most comfortable pads that I've slept on. It has dual air chambers, so you blow up one side and that inflates it, or then you blow up the other side as well. So it has two different valves, and so if one side pops, you can still get through the night, which is real nice. So there's a dimple on here on this side, but on the other side of this dimple there's a bubble. Unlike the REI Flash, it's just bubbles on both sides and dimples on the same spot. So this one makes it real comfortable. The only downside of this one is extremely heavy for backpacking, in backpacking terms. So it's right around 2 pounds, 2.5 pounds. So that's heavy for a lot of people, including myself, when I can shave 1.5 pounds off another pad. This one is a Big Agnes Air Core Insulated. Now my second choice for comfort is vertical seams like this for side sleeping versus just a straight flat air mattress. So this style, number 1, these are number 2, so that's why I have the majority of these. This one's a good pad, insulated with Primaloft on the inside. I don't know the R value of this one, generally around 4. Exped makes a great pad. This one is a Sinmat 7 Pump DLX. Got this about 15 years ago, and it's easy to inflate. All you do is you open this valve here, and then it has an integrated pump inside it. The advantage to that is you're not blowing in moisture. Say if you're on a high altitude mountaineering hunt, which can degrade the insulation inside there. So if you're just filling it up with the outside dry air instead of moist air from your breath, over time it's going to fill up with some condensation and really degrade that insulation there. Here's another one by Exped. This one only costs about $100. Got this 5 years ago or so. It's a pretty light one. And then most of these either just have a one-way valve to go in and out for the most part, or a lot of them nowadays have the inflate and deflate valve for speed. This one you just have to hold this open by putting something in there, and then it's easy to deflate. Just putting this inside there, that holds that green valve open to deflate. To inflate this one came with a pump as well, and then you can just hand pump this up pretty easily. This one's very light, right around a pound, and packs up real small. It's a nice pad, pretty comfortable, those vertical styles. Now the most comfortable pad, one of the most that they make, this is the Thermarest Mondo King right here. And so it's right about 3-4 inches thick, depending on how inflated it is. And it has integrated foam inside there. And it's extremely comfortable, but big, way too big to backpack, unless you want to bring that with. It's right around 5 or 6 pounds. It's pretty heavy. But I use this in the wintertime, putting it on a cot and for car camping. Same thing with this one. This is the REI Camp Bed 3.5. This is the one I use on my cot as well, that I've been using for a long time. And so you don't just want to sleep right on a cot or put your sleeping bag right on a cot, because there's no insulation there. It's just going to be like sleeping in a hammock in the wintertime with no insulation underneath you. So you want to have some type of pad, and then this just makes it feel like a bed, sleeping on that. All these are just great pads, great ones to use. Here are the pads from largest to smallest. It says right on the side here with this Mondo King, R value 11.4, 4 pounds 11 ounces. So somewhere around the same with this R value here for our camp cot. So right around 4 or 5 pounds. This one's just a little bit lighter. Here is our 3/4 length, so it only goes down about 3/4 length of my body here. This Thermarest. Same with this one. It's more of a kid's one here. This is a couple pounds. Here's the Sea to Summit Comfort Plus, the real comfortable one, but again, 2 to 3 pounds. Somewhere in here, this one was the Exped. Exped makes some expensive sleeping pads, but yeah, this one's right around a couple pounds here, pretty heavy. Here's our blue Big Agnes. Here's the Big Agnes SLX. And just keep it right in, I was just keeping it right in this inflatable sack right here. So it packs down pretty small. Here's the green one. Here's the other Exped. Pretty small there too, real light. And that's with just this top part here. That's the inflatable pump that's on the side there. Here's the real small Thermarest Neo Air X Light. Real light. And then the REI Flash. And the Flash is almost, they feel that they're real close. So this one's a little bit more comfortable in my mind, once again. The other thing to think about with these pads is how fast they inflate and deflate. So if you're taking them down, putting them up every single day, maybe twice a day, like we do when we're hunting. So we inflate it usually for a nap in the middle of the day. And so the speed of that and the ease of that is one of the reasons why I choose that. How fast it deflates, how fast it inflates. So if you find one with a valve like this, that's going to deflate the slowest versus one of these that deflate in this way. So those are the two considerations that you could think about as well. It's a small thing. It's really first world problems, but it's whatever you want. I've had a lot of poly pads over the years, and these are the ones I acquired. And the ones that are the most comfortable for me may not be the most comfortable for you. You may not be as picky as I am because I'm not a back sleeper. But for the most part, what I've found, again, are these cells that make it the most comfortable for side sleeping. So I'll see you on the next one. Keep surviving.